A very good morning to all my dear friends. I hope you all are doing good. This is Prashant Mauni, and let's see what we have got in the Hindu. But before that, let me provide you a very interesting fact. Norway is ranked as the country least likely to be affected by climate change, and Chad is the most vulnerable. Do you know where Chad is? Chad is in Africa. I would recommend you guys to check out Norway and Chad in your atlas. With this, dear friends, up to 40% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. This is going to last till 14th December. Want to know more about it? Check out studyiq.com. With this, the first editorial that we have in today's Hindu is pertaining to World Trade Organization, the country that is in news in terms of WHO meeting. Is Argentina, and this meeting is going to take place here in Buenos Aires, right? Buenos Aires is capital of Argentina. It is one of the biggest port city of Argentina as well, and as you can see on your map that Argentina is sharing its border with Atlantic Ocean. Here you can see Falkland Islands. Based on this is a sort of problem between these islands, right? Problem between UK and Argentina. Anyways, Argentina is a part of South America. It is in the southern tip of South American continent, and you can see here it is not given here, but let me add here that you find a mountain range. This is the longest mountain range in the world. So of course, this is a question for you. Name this mountain range, right? And one more question let me add here. Do pass me the name of the river on which you find this Buenos Aires city. With this, let's see what we have got here. It is pertaining to World Trade Organization, as you know, and at present there are three things, or you can say three proposals. The first is farm subsidies. The second one is pertaining to this elimination of support for unsustainable fisheries, and the third one is e-commerce. Now, more than 100 countries, right, have backed a joint proposal by India and China, right? India and China together. We have proposed, and we have got backing of 100 countries to eliminate the most trade disorienting farm subsidies worth $160 billion. And this is $160 billion is provided by this industrialized economies, like say for example USA. These developed countries are supporting their farmers in many different ways. Say for example research and development. Then you can say seeds, right? Then they do provide technical support and all these tools and tractors and other machineries and things like that. So in this way they are providing, indirectly they are supporting their farmers in this way. And we know that their farmers or agriculture business in industrialized economies is a sort of profitable business. They produce things in huge quantity, and they of course once their domestic need is fulfilled, they want this thing to be sold in different parts of the world. Now this is not fair for a country like India and China and many other countries, because what happens is that we are not using that latest technologies, right, in context or when you compare our farmers with American farmers. So naturally our farmers are going to lose when we compare our products in terms of quantity with American quantity, right? American farmers. So this is a thing, and this of course is not a right thing, because at the same time what they are asking, this industrialized economies, they want us to stop this minimum support price and things like that. This is very you can say this is not fair at all, right? We are just providing what a couple of, you can say 100 or 120 rupees, right, per kilo or something like that, but they are providing, you can see here, $160 billion in total, right? So this is not fair, and everything falls under this agreement on agriculture. Many a time you find it written as AOA, so keep this thing in mind as well. Then under this Doha agreement and under this WHO thing, right, a coalition of G33, basically 33 countries which are known as G33, which includes this Indonesia, China and India. Now we are seeking a complete exemption from commitments to reduce subsidies, minimum support price, And from this poverty alleviation program, under all these things that are being asked by these industrialized countries. The other thing is that when we talk about WHO, beg your pardon, WTO, right, then we know this World Trade Organization at present, the biggest threat that we can see, the world can see, is the protectionist theory. Or you can say the way USA has started, Donald Trump has started a wave of creating firewalls. That means I will produce things in my country. I will not do BPO, that is business process outsourcing. I will not allow people from other countries to come to my country and work here and take away jobs and things like that. Rather than thinking or taking into consideration the history of USA, we know that USA is a country made up of migrants, isn't it? So this is quite strange, and this wave or this theory of creating firewall is being, you can say, is being promoted by many other countries as well, which is not fair. So what we can do as nations, we should project the gains of globalization, because creating this sort of walls are just, you can say, temporary solutions. In the longer run, it is the globalization that is going to help the humanity and the world business as well. With this, the second item that we have is pertaining to South Africa. Political situation in South Africa. Of course, this is, as you can understand, the Hindu newspaper is not published only for people or students or aspirants preparing for competitive exams. So many a times you find this sort of articles as well as editorials or articles. And anyways, our main or you can say the thing that we can do here is that we can take out whatever is beneficial for us, isn't it? So that's what we will do here. A very famous river, Orange River, you find it in South Africa. Then you can also see that this country again falls in Southern Hemisphere. This one is in Southern Hemisphere as well, right? As you can see, equator is passing from some countries of South America, and this country as well, the South Africa is in Southern Hemisphere as well. It is a quite famous country in India. I'm sure you know many things about South Africa, but let me quickly tell you: cricket, Cape Town, you know, Vasco da Gama and things like that. And we know there is a connection between Indian history and South African history, because Mahatma Gandhi was here for the longest period of time, and the relationship that we are sharing with South Africa. So anyways, let's get back to the things that we find here, whatever bits and pieces that we can deduce out of it. Now, I'm not sure whether you know this apartheid thing. What apartheid is basically, this was there was an apartheid system in South Africa. And South Africa is a country that has got freedom just recently, right, in 90s. So before that, what used to happen is that you have a white community, right, or you have things for white people, and then you have things for colored people. So everything, ambulance, or you can say the residential area, everything was top range for white people, but colored people, that includes black, Indians and other people, all those colored peoples, they were not provided with any sort of good facilities and things like that. Something that we used to see in India during British Raj. So this was the thing, and after independence, Africa is the South Africa, right? This country of South Africa is infamous for corruption and misgovernance and things like that. Cronyism, right, is a very famous thing over there, or you can say it is quite prevalent over there, and it is a very corrupted country. The system of South Africa is more corrupted than India, so you can imagine how horrible it would be to live in this country. But nowadays, what are the things that are going on over there? There is African National Congress. It is a party, and a new person, as you can say, a scanning for a new name is on, and it is believed that there are basically two people over there. One is ex-wife of the current premier, and the second one is another politician over there. But it is believed that if the new person, if the ex-wife will come in, and because they have kids, joint kids, right? So the allegations that are going on against the current president's current president's son, right? So all those things will be rejected and things like that. But anyways, this is a thing, right? This is the reality of South Africa, and there is no sort of direct no mention of any sort of impact on India and things like that. So we can leave it now, and let's crack on to another items. This is, as you can see on your screen, about Korean Peninsula, right? You know the things that are going on between these two gentlemen here. One is Kim Jong-un and Mr. Trump. I'm sure we have gone through this thing again, but for new students, I would quickly take you to this portion here. You can see two countries here. This is called peninsula because you have water bodies in three different directions, here, here, and here. Japan is, of course, not far from this part. China is sharing border, and a very small border is shared between this Russian Federation and this North Korea. Now we know North Korea, Kim Jong-un is creating troubles for the world, and why he is doing, or why he is behaving in such a way, because if you go back in the history, then during Saddam Hussein time and Gaddafi's time, what happened basically, because these people were not having, they were not having this nuclear weapons, because of that it is believed that they were attacked, or their country was attacked by this USA and Western powers, because they were not having this nuclear weapon. So this is a thing, or you can say this is something, these incidents, right, are working in favor of Kim Jong-un. That's what he is saying to his people, that if we don't produce nuclear weapons, then these countries are going to take over us. The other thing is that it is using a thing called a strategy of escalating to de-escalate. What it means is that you create troubles, right? You create weapons, you create so strong weapons that you force your opposition or your opponents to come to a table for you. You can understand this thing. This is a sort of tactic as well, that you become so powerful, you are not following any rules and things like that. So eventually the people who are against you, right, will be forced to ask you to come to a table, and at that point of time, when you are having a sort of upper hand, at that point of time the negotiation can be tilted in your favor. So this is something that this Kim Jong-un is trying to do. The other thing is that if you go back in the history, then you find that earlier on it used to this Kim Jong-un or his grandfather or his father. I'm not sure about whether it was his grandfather or father. I believe it was his father, of course, not his grandfather. But anyways, North Korea was part of this NPT, non-proliferation treaty. India has not signed NPT yet, but it was part of this NPT. But the way things were going on against North Korea, finally it said that we are going, in 2003 basically it withdrew from this NPT, and since then we can see that many sanctions and things like that are applied on this North Korea, but nothing has worked so far. All the strategies, all this things of threatening it and imposing sanctions and things like that, nothing of this is working. Then you have different countries are having different sort of interests here, right? If you see China, then China does not want any sort of nuclear sort of war in its neighborhood. Then if just in case if there is a war, then refugees will run towards China. So China does not want that sort of thing as well, and of course it does not want this Kim Jong-un's communist sort of communist ideological government, because this will create a sort of trouble in the domestic politics of China as well. So these are few reasons here. Then you have Russia. Russia used to do secret tradings with North Korea, but at present, all the pressures and things like that Russia is trying to do, nothing is working here. And of course, both these countries, Russia and China, would love to see USA in trouble. But because of this great game, you can say, the game that is being played between Russia, China and USA, countries like Japan and South Korea, these countries are suffering from it. And the thing is, if this is the way we are going to do business, if this is the way we are going to approach any problem, then there may be a time when the countries that have in fact signed this non-proliferation treaty may withdraw from it, and there could be a chance that other countries would start producing bombs for themselves, right? So this indicates that systematically we have failed. We are not able to sort out problems as a world community, and particularly this developed countries. They have there are many examples, Iraq is an example. Then recent Iran nuclear deal and USA stepping out of it is another example. This deal is not something that was signed between USA and Iran, not at all. It is a deal of world community, because everything is working under this United Nations. This whole Iran nuclear deal is under United Nations. So if one country is stepping out of it, a country that is the main, you can say, reason behind the trouble here. Because if you go back to the history of Iran nuclear deal, there is a special video available as well on our Study IQ YouTube channel if you want to know more about it. But briefly speaking, it was USA which started providing nuclear support for civilian purpose in Iran back in somewhere around 50s I'm talking about. And now we see that this is a big problem here. So USA should take responsibility rather than stepping out of this thing, and this is going to in fact create more hurdles, because in future Kim Jong-un can say that why should I sign a deal with the world community, because USA will step out of it and the whole deal will come to an end. And we can see isolation has also not worked. Pakistan, we know that the whole world knows in and out about Pakistan, but then as well we cannot do anything about it because of this systematic failure. The future is that of course the use of force is not going to stop North Korea, because it is having very powerful destructive weapons now. So the only thing is talks, right, dialogues. And now of course no one knows, I don't know, even the experts are just providing some sort of clues like here and that, do this and that, but no one has the right key yet, like how we are going to bring North Korea to a table. With this we move on to this item. This is the fourth article, and this is about triple talaq, right? Now the thing is, we know that government is planning to penalize triple talaq or criminalize triple talaq. Now we know this triple talaq is illegal, right? You cannot just text someone and say that write 3 times talaq, and this is not how things work, right? It is not as per Quran as well, right? This is not right. But anyways, we know that in 2017, this year itself, 5-judge bench of Supreme Court has cancelled this triple talaq thing. It is considered illegal. You cannot divorce using this triple talaq thing. But now the parliament, right, or the government is planning to criminalize this thing, that if any husband is giving this triple talaq to his wife, then he can be jailed for 3 years. Now before being happy about this thing, of course triple talaq is a wrong thing, right? You cannot play around with the life of any woman in this way. So of course it is illegal, it is wrong thing. But criminalizing it, how you are going to prove it, isn't it? You see here, say for example the lady is saying that that her husband has said triple talaq to her, verbal triple talaq, right, when they were in their house. So now things will go in the court if you criminalize it. And then what will happen is it will be the duty, or you can say the onus will be on the lady to prove that this person is wrong. The other thing is that this person can easily argue that I haven't said anything like that, etc., etc., and the court may give benefit of doubt to the man. Third thing is one more angle that we can add here. Many a times you may find a very few percent of ladies do this thing, but we do see this sort of cases as well, that for money or for whatever reason, for creating some sort of trouble, we may find some false cases as well. And the fourth one is, if you jail a person, if you jail the man who is supposed to pay you some sort of alimony, then how he is going to pay you money if you jail him, if you jail him for triple talaq. Of course, triple talaq is not accepted, but criminalizing it is something that will not work, because this, as you can see, these are the problems. The other thing is, if you go through Indian Penal Code, then you find that riots and violence and this sort of crimes, right, you are awarded 3 years term for this sort of crimes. And here you can clearly see that this is not something of criminal in nature. In fact, it is more like civil contempt of Supreme Court. You can have some fine and things like that on it. And this will, of course, stop people from using this sort of things. So I hope this is clear. Moving on to another item, and the last article, as you can say, from this editorial pages, and this one is about Darjeeling. We know that political turmoil was there in the district of Darjeeling. This is here, right? It is a district in West Bengal, and West Bengal is a state that is sharing borders with 3 countries: Bangladesh, Nepal and Bhutan. As you can see here, that Darjeeling is sharing a land boundary with Nepal, so you can easily understand that migration took place here, and we have a Gurkha community living in Darjeeling. And what triggered this sort of you can say political turmoil in West Bengal is basically the government of West Bengal decided that Bengali language will be made compulsory for everyone in the state, right, when it comes to education. So this was opposed by Gurkha community. They say that they speak Nepali, or their mother tongue is Nepali, so why they should be forced to learn this language. Anyways, they are right, no doubt. Now, Darjeeling is famous for 2 things. I'm sure you know it. It's tea and tourism. But for a very long period of time, people of this district, right, they lost all their money, and now as the winter is back, so they again they have a very wonderful opportunity to do their business and recover the things that they have lost due to this political turmoil. Anyways, what is going on, or what took place here? Tug of war. Basically, you have one person called Bimal Gurung, the one who you can see on your screen. He was the main leader of this Gurkha community, and he also has used to have this person called Binay Tamang, right? He was like a deputy to this Bimal Gurung. Now when this political turmoil started in West Bengal, at that point of time, Bimal Gurung was not there. He was absconding. So West Bengal government was looking after Bimal Gurung, and then Bimal Gurung had a deal with the government of India, right? See here you have government of India, central government, as well as West Bengal government. Now this person was he was a runner, so he government of India, basically, you know that you have BJP here and you have TMC here, so they have a sort of problem with each other, and this is a political scenario. So everyone tried to win this thing. So government of India did a deal with Bimal Gurung, and before this could be executed, the West Bengal government took Binay Tamang in their side, and he was declared a leader and things like that. So this is how things are going on, and finally we can see the state government has sorted out things. So it has sidetracked, the West Bengal state government has kept Bimal Gurung on side and Binay Tamang on side as well. So this is how it works in politics. Moving on, now we are heading or we have reached this news zone. Dear friends, a very famous young actor, right? She was molested in an aeroplane, and she has posted this video. Very sad to see a small child or a very young girl crying, and see, these things can happen with or they do happen in aeroplanes. Generally what we see is that it is the poor people. This is a stereotype. I'm not saying this is what I believe. This is a stereotype that is there in the town, that it is the poor people and it is uneducated people who do rape and things like that. That is not always right? It all depends on your character. You could be educated, you could be Harvard pass out, but that does not guarantee that you will not, you can say, having the best character. Intellectualism, your intellectual qualities could be very high, but that does not mean that emotionally, or you can say in character wise, you are very good, right? So keep this thing in mind as well. Many a times you have this sort of people wearing masks of this sort of degrees and high status and things like that. Anyways, so this thing happened in an aeroplane. She has posted a video as well, and we know that many a times we find some idiotic people in our country. They say that why should a young girl go out alone? Excuse me, she was traveling with her mother, as you can see here, and I'm sure if this thing was not out there, then we would have many people who would say that why she was traveling alone. Why not? Why cannot a lady travel alone? Why can't we create a system, right, that is safe enough that anyone can travel wherever they like? This is not blaming any particular woman, and who is creating troubles for women? It is the man lot. So the improvement that is required is in the man lot. So this is the thing with this Butt, right? We know this Abdul Ghani Butt. He said that he's ready to have a chat with Dineshwar Sharma, and he is removed from his party now because of his speech, or you can say his inclination to have a chat with a special representative of Government of India. And you can also say that Dineshwar Sharma has started creating problems for this separatist leaders. Here is again a very bleak, or you can say very disheartening scenario, that cyclone Uki, right, because of this many fishermen are missing, and of course the ladies are praying for the safe return. They have a hope, but I think means I'm no one to comment on anyone's faith and belief, but I think as human beings, right, we should help each other. And when I say we should help each other, what I'm trying to say here is this: the technology, right, is a thing. The reason why they are missing, or the reason why they don't know that this was just around the corner, is because it indicates that they don't have tools and gadgets and access to weather forecast and things like that. So where we are missing here, what is the thing that is lacking here, right? Is it something that is indicated by God as well, we can say, right? So technology can help us, and there are many young minds who are working and producing this sort of things that are making a change in the lives of many people. With this, dear friends, Prime Minister has said that Islamabad is trying to fix Gujarat polls, and he has accused former Prime Minister, and there are many other people as well, former Vice President and Congress leaders. He has said, Prime Minister has said that they had a meeting with this Foreign Minister of Pakistan and High Commissioner and other people, and this opposition is saying that the allegation of PM is baseless. As PM, he should not say things like that, and etc, etc. Now what I'm trying to say here is that if this thing has taken place or not, a sort of inquiry should be conducted, because if something like this is going on, there is nothing illegal in it. But if Islamabad is trying to fix Gujarat polls, then of course we can stop them, and this is a very serious thing. With this, Supreme Court is going to see whether your fundamental rights to privacy still applies if you are not anymore, even if after one man's or if one individual's death. Is it necessary to safeguard their fundamental rights or privacy, say for example? Because here the case is that High Court ordered to get other this biometric information of Jayalalitha for a certain case, but Supreme Court has said that don't do that. We are going to find out whether this is a violation of fundamental rights or not, particularly after life. United Nations needs to define terror, has been said by Vice President. He was speaking on this Human Rights Day, and I have a couple of questions for you pertaining to this thing, because today we have talked about what in fact 3 articles were pertaining to foreign things, isn't it? International things going on around the world. So I have a question for you pertaining to human rights. And anyways, here he has said that power comes from ballot and not bullet. This sort of statements are very useful for your mains answer writing. They add more weight. And here you can see that it is been said by the Vice President of our country with this ICAN, International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. Now the name itself indicates like this organization is working for abolishing nuclear weapons. We know the danger of nuclear weapons. We were talking about North Korea, so I don't have to go through I don't have to go into the detail, I believe. So this ICAN got a Nobel Prize this year for its consistent campaign against abolishing nuclear weapons, and the sad thing is that the countries who are already having nuclear weapons, they are not ready to sign the treaty. This is a very funny world in which we are living. Nepal is likely to have Oli as its prime minister. Right, here are the figures, and let's wait and watch, because Nepal is a very volatile, politically very volatile country. So you cannot say who is until and unless that person takes a sort of oath. And here is again this is pertaining to financial news. 2 lakh crore right, total loan amount from 28 accounts are named in the second list of defaulters. Earlier on we know that RBI came out with list of defaulters. Here you have 28 new or you can say 28 accounts that are out. And 2 lakh crore is not a small amount. You know that recently government is going to recapitalize the banks with 2.11 lakh crore. So here you can see it is a big amount. And the last item that we have is again pertaining to World Trade Organization. I have got this thing from both the Hindu and another financial paper, and here are some basic things regarding it. We have talked about it in detail, so I'm not repeating it here. Of course, when you download this file, you can go through it as per your convenience. I have found only a couple of answers on this thing, so I'm feeling very sad, but this is something that I'm not going to stop, because I know the value of this thing. I do understand that you are climbing and learning new things every day, so I do understand that at present you may not understand the importance of this thing, but hopefully very soon you will. And the day when you will realize the importance of critically analyzing things and looking at things from different angles, once you will have this is a skill that you can develop. It is not something that will happen overnight. First of all, it will create trouble for your brain, right? Because this is something we have never done before, right? We do think, right? We do think throughout the day, but when it comes to thinking about something that we want to think, right, then this is the time when our brain creates a sort of trouble. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right? So never mind. Thank you very much, all of you who have answered, right? I have gone through it, but I would recommend you to write and rewrite your own answer and then put your post, right? Then put your post. I have gone through it. You can refine it a bit further as well. These are the answers here, and this is GAL Mobile. This can be helpful in flood situation in our country. And I have one question for you, that nowadays we see that, the reality is that economical benefits, right, they are considered more valuable than human values, What do you think? Whether it is right or wrong, whether you say yes or no to this thing. You can debate this thing, right? You can debate it in the comment section. With this battle of Bidera in 1759 marked the expulsion of which power from India? Portugal, Holland, France, and Denmark. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion, and you can download this file from my Facebook page, which is Prashant T. Mavani. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do share this lecture with your friends, and please do not forget to pass me your valuable comments, your answers, as well as do give us your like too. I will see you all soon. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.